Coming up on First at 4, as temperatures get cooler, could a triple-demic be around the corner? We talk with local health experts about the situation. Plus, a jury has reached a verdict in the case of a Wisconsin man accused of killing 6 people when he drove his SUV into a Christmas parade last year.
Well, as clouds continue tonight, but much nicer weather is on the way for the second half of the week. Details ahead as Mountain News First at 4 starts now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, flu, COVID, and RSV. All viruses we're dealing with this time of year, and hospitals across the country are seeing an alarming increase in RSV cases. The 3 viruses together could pose a triple-demic risk this winter. WYMT's Dakota Makers talked to local health experts.
You're definitely seeing an uprise in all 3 of them.
Dr. Regina Kaur is talking about COVID, flu, and RSV cases.
You can definitely get infected with all 3 of them. A super infection, you could get 2 of them.
As the temperatures turn cooler and we finally transition into winter, health professionals worry cases of all 3 viruses may increase, especially as we return to pre-COVID life.
Mask wearing is almost non-existent now, and anytime we're getting in these big mass gatherings now, we have the potential for the spread of these airborne viruses.
But says the best prevention is vaccination against COVID and the flu.
Unfortunately, there is not a vaccine for RSV, so we just need to practice those good oral hygiene practices.
Hoping people do what they can to stay healthy this fall and winter. In Perry County, Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News.
A doctor at Kentucky Children's Hospital recently said they began seeing positive RSV cases in May and said that is unheard of. A group of high school students in Leslie County were given the opportunity to take part in a local project that they will see around town for years and possibly decades to come. WYMT's Olivia Calfee explains.
The Leslie County Area Technology Center students have been working on a special project since before COVID, designing and building 2 large Eagle landmarks, and people affiliated with the project say seeing it all come together has been amazing.
These kids have put in over 500 hours of time on these 2 Eagles, and they take a lot of pride in that. And I'm just so impressed with their work. We have something here that we're going to be able to talk about for a long time.
The first Eagle has already been completed and was placed outside of the school, as you can see it here behind me. And the second Eagle is expected to be completed very soon, and it will be placed downtown. In Leslie County, Olivia Calfee, now back to you.
Very impressive work there. Brashear says the Eagle sculptures were first thought of by the University of Kentucky as part of a downtown Hayden revitalization project. It has turned into a great opportunity for local students to get involved. We'll have more on how the Eagles were created and hear from some of the students at 6.
Well, it's been a rather gloomy day, at least weather-wise, throughout the region. We will continue to see those clouds hanging tough as we head through the evening hours, and it's really kept those temperatures down as well. You see the current readings throughout the region are chilly, down into the 50s. How about low 50s in London right now? 50 degrees there, 52 here in Hazard, and 51 in Pikeville, all socked in with overcast. And shockingly, everybody is at least at 50 right now. I figured we'd have at least an upper 40, but even Wise is at 50, so you're seeing the cooler air continuing to filter in thanks to those west winds between 5 and 10 miles per hour, really bringing in cool air from the west. It's a clean sweep on pinpoint Doppler, though we can't say the same thing when you throw the radar, or the satellite on, I should say. We've got those clouds pushing on through the region, and that back edge is still over toward the Ohio River, so we're not done yet, and you see it's going to be a little bit before these clouds are finally out of here thanks to that low pressure from yesterday. So running through tonight, low 40s. If we can manage to clear out a little faster, that's where we'll end up, with winds calming down and clouds slowly moving out. The latest on when we could see, though, a return to some sunshine, that's in a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. A Wisconsin man accused of intentionally ramming his SUV into a crowd during a Christmas parade last November has learned his fate. A 12-member jury found him guilty of 6 counts of first-degree intentional homicide and dozens of counts of reckless endangerment for the attack. CBS's Roxana Saberi reports from Wisconsin.
After just over 3 hours of deliberations,
have you reached verdicts on all 76 counts?
Yes. Jurors in the trial of Darrell Brooks found him guilty of all charges stemming from last year's deadly Christmas parade crash in Waukesha, Wisconsin.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty. Burn in hell, you piece of shit. You are to be removed right now.
Brooks, who has no legal training, represented himself during the roughly 3-week trial.
To be fair, I am a lot of things. A murderer is not one of them.
He clashed with the judge throughout the proceedings.
This man right now is having a stare down with me. It's very disrespectful.
Prosecutors maintain the 40-year-old intentionally plowed his red SUV into the crowd after an altercation with his ex-girlfriend.
He doesn't stop. He keeps going.
Laura Thien, a performer in the parade, offered emotional testimony.
All I seen were bodies. I thought I was in a war.
Nicole White told the court she suffered 2 torn ligaments and an injured tailbone.
I just remember being struck by the vehicle from behind, on my back.
Brooks sat mostly with his head down as the judge read guilty verdicts on all 76 counts.
We are satisfied that this defendant has been held accountable for his actions.
He faces a mandatory life sentence in prison on each homicide count. Roxana Saberi, CBS News, Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Both the prosecution and defense will head back to court Monday to discuss sentencing. Indiana State Police need help finding a mother accused of killing her son and leaving him in a suitcase. An Indiana mushroom hunter found the suitcase near the Kentucky border back in April. This morning, investigators identified the boy as 5-year-old Cairo Amar Jordan. He would have turned 6 on Monday. Police say his mother, DeJuan Anderson, is facing multiple charges, including murder. Both are from Atlanta, Georgia. Anderson was arrested by Louisville police weeks before the suitcase was found in southern Indiana. Police say the case has shaken the community.
The whole community came together. Many of you were there for the funeral where he was laid to rest and given a proper burial and the recognition that we could and the honor that we could for him at that time. This whole case is all about justice for Cairo. That's the only thing this case has ever been about.
Another woman, Dawn Coleman from Louisiana, was arrested in recent days in California. Police could not say why Coleman and Anderson were in the area. There are more convictions in the 2020 plot to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Today, a jury found 3 men guilty on state charges. Paul Beller, Joseph Morrison, and Pete Musico were convicted of providing material support for a terrorist act, a felony punishable by up to 20 years in prison. They were also convicted of gang membership and felony possession of a firearm. Prosecutors reported the men engaged in the planning and training for an operation to attack the state capitol building and kidnap government officials, including the governor. They will be sentenced December 15th. Yesterday, a vigil was held for the victims in the school shooting at a high school in St. Louis. Many in the area came out to show support for the families and victims of the shooting at the Save the Children's Lives vigil at Mount Bethel Missionary Baptist Church. Police say 15-year-old Alexandria Bell was shot and killed, and a teacher, 61-year-old Jean Kuksa, was shot. Kuksa later died at the hospital from her injuries. Bell would have turned 16 in about 3 more weeks.
Our city was added to a list that no city wants to be on. We are now a city that has experienced a school shooting.
I hope and pray that yesterday will never, ever repeat itself in the St. Louis metropolitan area.
Police say Orlando Harris, the man responsible for the shooting, had an AR-15 style rifle with about 600 rounds of ammunition. When we return on Mountain News First at 4, it was a special moment for a 100-year-old World War II veteran from Ohio when she saw the memorial built in her honor.
Plus, keeping an eye on the satellite as we try to move the clouds out of the region. The latest on their progress coming right up.